Do you guys remember that clip that went viral a couple weeks ago on Twitter of that woman, that Zionist woman, having a meltdown because an anti-Zionist Jew was protesting in Union Square? Do you guys see that? Okay, we'll watch this last one and then I really got to run. But let's watch this. What? How do you search it? Karen yells at anti-Zionist Jew. Twitter's search function sucks. Was it this one?
Not a Jew! How dare you!
When Zionism
You're not a Jew! To say that!
They caused bloodshed. They caused rivers of bloodshed.
How can you say that? You're Jewish! How can you shame your...
Oh, yeah, it is. I'm honestly sad I wasn't there. I wish I could have been there. I live in New York City. I could have just gone right down there and fucking joined this drama. There are so many Jewish people like this man. A lot of pro-Palestinian, anti-Zionist Jews, a lot of them. I've been at pro-Palestinian marches where there was huge crowds of anti-Zionist Jews. But they like to pretend they don't exist because it's very inconvenient for their narrative. Very inconvenient for their narrative. I know, it's funny. They love to call everything an anti-Semitic trope. How is it not an anti-Semitic trope to call people self-hating Jews? Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah, they really don't like acknowledging, though, the anti-Zionist like Torah Jews because as I said, it's very inconvenient for their narrative of saying that everybody agrees with them. Every Jewish person has to be a Zionist or else they're like a fake Jew or a self-hating Jew. And these people are Orthodox. These Jewish people are Orthodox and very like committed to free Palestine and anti-Israeli regime. And that's just very inconvenient for them, for propagandists and Zionists like Michael Rappaport, who like, I don't even know, he is Jewish. Like, did he convert to Judaism or is he like ethnically Ashkenazi, European Jew? I don't know. I would have never known that he was Jewish if it weren't for him not shutting the fuck up about it. I honestly, if I had to guess his ethnicity, I thought he was like a white trash, not to insult my Irish people, because I love Irish people, Irish Americans. That's what I thought he was. I thought he was like a white trash, South Boston, like Irish American.
Who is that Jew?
We're Jews! This is our people!
He was against Judaism.
I like how she's like straight up white. Just straight up white.
We're all Jews here, all right?
The guy's like, calm down, lady. We're all Jews here. Are you? She just looks like a white Karen. Yeah. Also, he's like, calm down, lady. But like, I also love how she's whining and then accuses them of not really being Jewish. Like, you guys are they're such fucking hypocrites. They'll literally try to dehumanize other Jewish people, Orthodox anti-Zionist Jewish people, and then cry about how they're anti-Semitic as they're denying them their Judaism. It's quite something.
How are they saying that?
Because
they
we
believe
don't
in
want
genocide.
genocide. We don't want
I'm standing
genocide.
there.
I don't want that.
Because I'm Jewish.
And the Talmud says it's not our country like that.
That is our
It's right,
country!
it's
How dare you say that about our own people?
Because I'm Jewish. Because I'm Jewish, I'm standing there.
Like a typical Karen, she tries to grab his phone.
No, you're not Jewish.
How can you say that about our people? Why are you taking pictures of us?
Put yourself in this situation.
How can they say that? You're Jewish! They're just taking pictures!
How embarrassing that she brought her kid to this. Like, how embarrassing. You brought your kid to this. and you're screaming like a lunatic in front of your child. Embarrassing. Some people should not be allowed to be parents. I know, that was great. The best reply from a Jewish person to a Zionist when they asked him about the Jews' homeland, and he replied, "You mean New York?" True. True.
Gaza. Kids are dying in Gaza. Kids are dying in Gaza.
That one Orthodox guy keeps saying, children are dying in Gaza. Children are dying in Gaza. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care that children are dying.
This is not what Judaism stands for.
This guy up here is like, hey, can you go away?
This is not what Judaism stands for.
Shame, shame, Israel! Shame, shame, Israel!
I'm protecting her. Let me. Yeah. Guys, leave her alone.
No, we are.
The irony of this Zionist lunatic calling other people, okay, monsters. You're calling other people monsters as that guy waves around his fake passport. Please, please. Yeah, it's so embarrassing. That's what everybody, never, first of all, never allow someone to silence your voice and your advocacy for human rights because they try to smear you with name calling, like saying that you're anti-Semitic. Never allow them to do that. That's how they try to shut down conversation. That's how they try to shut people down. And do always remember that there is a big difference between these monsters like her that are advocating for genocide and actual advocacy for human rights. And don't let anybody tell you, especially these lunatic Zionists, if you are Jewish, who gets to be Jewish and who doesn't. Like, don't let anybody do that. There are a lot, and if you're not that familiar with it, also don't let Zionist lunatics make you think a certain way about Jewish folks overall, because there are a lot of amazing, amazing anti-Zionist Jews. I live in New York. I live in Brooklyn. There are a lot of Jewish people here. There are a lot of anti-Zionist Jewish people here. And some of them are the strongest voices, leading voices for the pro-Palestinian movement. So never allow them to make you dehumanize other people because they do. I always, want to remind people of that they dehumanize people. Never allow them to make you lose your humanity. Because we don't, on our side, those of us who are pro-human, we don't judge people or decide whether or not somebody has worth, whether or not, based on whether or not they are Jewish, or whether or not they are Palestinian, or whether or not they are Black, or any other gender or race. Because we are humanists, and we do not dehumanize that way. The way that somebody who is vile and disgusting like Zionists are, that can get you to be on their level, is to get you to dehumanize people the way that they do. Never allow them to take your humanity for other people from you. JD McCoy, I dated a Jewish dude, still think he's so hot. The irony is that the activity of these Zionist lunatics is just making Jews, including Israelis, less safe. I know. I've been saying that for months. That's what I've been saying that for months, including to the lunatic Zionists here in New York. Oh, I know, Nar. There are a lot of crazy Zionists here, but there are a lot of crazy Christian Zionists here too. But But that is true. It's literally them making Jewish people unsafe. Like, when they say, they constantly conflate Jewish people with Zionism and the entity, the Israeli entity. Unironically anti-Semitic and unironically making every Jewish person less safe, because what they're saying is to be Jewish is to support genocide. That's what the Zionists are doing when they go out of their way to conflate anti-Semitism with anti-Zionism. They are making all Jews less safe, which is how you know they really don't give a shit about Jewish safety. They really gave a shit about Jewish safety, they wouldn't be conflating Zionism with what it means to be Jewish. Did I just tokenize him? I'm old. I have no clue. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's really funny. It's really funny too, because like, no, you have to reject their bad faith smears. It's just really funny. Because now, like, all the bad faith lunatic Zionists, all they do is call their opponents anti-Semitic. Everything I don't like is anti-Semitic, and Hamas. I'm Hamas, you're Hamas, everyone's Hamas, which is actually kind of funny because, like, when somebody pointed out to me, and I hadn't even thought about it when some lunatic Zionist was going after me, that like every person that I really loved and admired my whole life just happened to be Jewish people. Like, the comedians that I loved were all Jewish people. My favorite comedian when I was growing up and like was Roseanne, which is kind of sad to say because Roseanne is a psycho. So I don't follow her on Twitter. I try not to like look at anything she does because it's just too disappointing, you know? Like, we all have those people that have like a special place in our heart. I have like a special place in my heart for Roseanne because I grew up watching Roseanne when I was in a very, very dark depression, going through alcoholism and addiction. I would like wake up from my hangovers and I would just put Roseanne on and I would watch episode after episode after episode. And it was just so comforting to me and funny. And I always related to Roseanne because Roseanne was like, you know, the only show that was really on TV that talked about poor people and working class people and fat people. I loved, and what's funny, a lot of people who never watch Roseanne don't know this, but like, it's funny that she's like a psycho right-wing Zionist conspiracy theorist now, because when she had her show back in the 90s and late 80s, she was like super progressive and like ahead of her time. Like, it's wild. She was like, she would do shows about like America's colonization of the Native American land and like queer people, and talked about racism and anti-Blackness. Like, she was very ahead of her time and talked about things on her show that like leftists didn't even start talking about until years later. And she was so funny. She was really funny. And I always felt like there weren't really that many funny women. So yeah, it's very unfortunate what happened to her. And it's crazy that she ended up becoming like a right-wing QAnon psychopath, and like a psychotic Zionist. So that's why I don't follow her on Twitter. I don't watch her. I don't watch anything she does, because I think like everybody who has that like childhood memory of somebody that you kind of hold in your heart and you want to remember a certain way. I like to remember Roseanne as like the Roseanne from the show that I loved, that I grew up watching. So I don't want to watch like anything she does now. And same with like everyone else that like I ever admired and looked up to was like Jewish people. Like Bernie Sanders, the only politician I ever loved, donated to, volunteered for, Jewish. Bob Dylan, my favorite artist, my favorite musician of all time, was the person I first started like writing music because of, was Bob Dylan. So it's just funny. It's just funny when people are like, oh my gosh, have you ever even like thought about this? It's like, okay, bro. And by the way, that I only thought of this because somebody made the joke about dating a Jewish person and tokenizing them. And I never even thought about how much like Jewish culture and Jewish American culture had influenced me until somebody pointed that out. Because ever since I started speaking up for Palestine, I obviously never got called anti-Semitic ever in my life before this, before the whole, I started speaking up for Palestine. But once you start speaking up for Palestine, people start calling you anti-Semitic. And I just never thought about all the influences in my life that were Jewish people until like this whole thing started. And then everybody's like, something, everything I don't like is anti-Semitic, and something, everything I don't like is Hamas. Hamas. We get old and our radical spirit dies. I know. It's disappointing. Oh, I always hated Amy Schumer. She's just not funny. She's just not funny. Yeah, like if you're gonna be as obnoxious as Amy Schumer is, who's also like a Nepo baby because her family is like rich and was already in politics and media, you need to actually have a good sense of humor. All she does is talk about her vag, and that's supposed to be the joke. Like, I just can't. Like, people like that, like Amy Schumer or Sarah Silverman, where like their whole comedy is like talking about their period and their vag and poop. Make it stop. And stealing jokes. Yeah, Amy Schumer is a huge joke stealer. Yeah, I never thought she was funny either. Where, you know what I realized though, is that that's also a product of the time we're living in. There are still a lot of funny people, but they're on TikTok. Like network television, Hollywood movies, they don't want really funny people because it's too like advertiser threatening. Everybody is so scared about being like offensive to advertisers. So everything is so watered down because when you watch any comedy show, whether it's on Comedy Central or in a movie or on network television, it has to go through all these stages of approval. So if you have something funny, by the time it goes through its like 8th stage of approval, you've destroyed any of the jokes or like the funniness of it. Which is why I'm like, people are like, oh, people just aren't funny anymore. It's like, it's not that people aren't funny anymore. It's that most of the funny people who are unfiltered are like on social media. They're on X. They're on TikTok. There's actually a female comedian who I think is really funny. And she is on, in fact, I think she's Jewish. She's so funny. Her name is Kylie Brakeman. A lot of people don't know who she is because she's just like a local comedian, but she's really funny. And she's somebody who should be like a woman in comedy that people should, you know, pay attention to and actually like give. She should get jobs. Is she getting jobs? Like, I don't see mainstream media propping her up.
And that's why we've collaborated with the Coca-Cola knows that She Herstory was written by women girls, which is why now Diet Coke is called Emily. Bank of America believes that women, and that's why we've collaborated with the Smartless guys to put out a podcast in a frequency that only women can hear. If women were a car, Chevron would fuel the car where the women want to go. That's why today gasoline is pink. Kellogg's is proud to announce that Captain Crunch is a woman. Just today, though, we don't want to do that shit forever. Hello, we're Hillshire Farms, and for some reason, we're going with what if George Washington was a girl? Makes you think. We at Hilton believe that women deserve a break, which is why we fired all our female employees. Enjoy your day off, good boss. Domino's loves mummies. That's why pizza in shape of bra today. Mountain Dew is a matriarchal paradise. That's why write the name of a woman who inspires you on the can, mail it to us, and then we'll put it on Instagram. Welcome to Home Depot. We made a hammer that women can hold with their little hands. Uh-oh, Google had an idea. We're girl goal today.
She is very funny. She's very funny, but you don't see her getting propped up. I really like her. And then what would you call it? What would you call? Yeah, way too many musicians. Somebody brought musicians. Musicians are disgustingly silent on Palestine. They really are. We are not seeing nearly enough musicians talk about Gaza, talk about Palestine. It was like Macklemore came out with a song and like that was it. We are not seeing nearly enough musicians. It's gross. That's why you guys got to help me find a producer so I can release my Palestine song. No one else is going to do it. No one else is going to do it. No one else is doing it. Find me a producer. Send me your best producer, you guys. There is no way that there is not a producer somewhere in this chat that can help me bring this Palestine song to life. I know you're in there. Someone's got to speak about it. DJ Khaled, I know. You know what? I actually feel sorry for DJ Khaled's children because they're going to grow up with so much shame because he's been not only so silent, he only comes out and does social media to brag about how rich he is as his people are starving. I don't talk about DJ Khaled that often because I really don't want to speak generally, like be too critical of Palestinians, whether they're in the diaspora or not, because I'm obviously not Palestinian and I care about what Palestinians think and hearing from them. But I'm speaking just from a human level of like seeing his posts and seeing how he hasn't said anything about Gaza and then thinking about his kids. Like his kids are going to grow up and learn about their heritage and see how quiet he was. It's sad. Yeah, I do. I think it is valid to criticize him. I just don't really like to say that much, really, because I'm not Palestinian. And I think that Palestinians who have been speaking up about him should be the ones mostly talking about it. So I don't really talk about it. It doesn't mean I don't have an opinion, but I don't go out of my way to talk so much about it. Damn, Bam, if you're a producer, hit me up. Help me with my song. Help me with my song. Yeah, because the thing is that the system doesn't want actually funny people, okay? That's why Kylie Brakeman isn't more famous or doesn't have more, followers or whatever. Dan, you can DM me on Twitter, on X. It's the same handle. I'm also going to put my work email in my bio. Low Key has a song called Genocide Joe. Oh, somebody get me Low Key. Tell him to help me. Yeah, Sammy Obeid. I don't know how you say his last name. He's a comedian and he's also really funny. He was like a math teacher. But again, they don't want funny people, okay? They don't. That's why they propped up people like that really not funny guy. Oh, Dan, try. The reason why I say Twitter is because I've got way too many messages on Instagram and TikTok. I don't even look at them anymore. It's like overwhelming. It's like thousands. Maybe I can put my email right here and you can just email me. This is my work email. Tell me if you see it. It's I am Blakeley, which is my same handle everywhere, at gmail.com. Weird that it's telling me I'm typing from Twitch. No, but do you guys remember when they propped up that I forget her name. Her name was like Sarah something. And all she did was TikToks where she would lip sync Trump. What was her name? I don't remember, but she wasn't funny. And I'm not saying this to like hate, but like she wasn't funny. All she did was lip sync Trump. She had no original comedy. And the mainstream media lost it over her. They loved her. They had her they gave her a Netflix special. They had her on all the like news shows. I was like, this is amazing. Sarah Cooper, thank you. That was her name. Thanks, Dan Bam. It won't take that long. I just need somebody to help me produce the song, basically, because I am not a producer. So I'll write it. I sing it, but some people are Logic X pros. All right, fam. I got to go because it has been 2 hours of this stream and I got to finish some shit. Thank you again. I thank you so much again for everybody who sent me super chats. And thank you for everybody who became members on YouTube. Thank you again, Saeed, for gifting all those memberships. Thank you for everyone who joined my Ko-Fi and became a member there or who donated to my Venmo. I love you all so much. I hope that you have a really good weekend. Don't let yourself be gaslit, whether by Blue Anon or AIPAC, Biden, or the Zionists. And yeah, rest and keep on keeping on. Don't let anybody lie to you. And remember that we must keep fighting for Palestine until they're free. I love you all.